Hey, Pastor Steve Waldron here today with a Walter Martin Cult Reference Bible. Now, I pastor New Life of Albany, Georgia. Just want to mention that. A lot of people remember Walter Martin. He was the original Bible answer man. Now, I say that actually. There was a Barnes back in the 1950s and 60s. I think he inherited the title, the Bible Answer Man. But it was a nationally syndicated radio program that you could call and ask Walter Martin questions. And he was sharp as a tack. I'll just tell you, he was a very brilliant man. And he really almost single-handedly popularized the cult hunting that was so big in the 80s and 90s. And there's still little trinks out there of that today. Now, I personally don't like to call things a cult because that's a loaded term. It is memed in our society after Jim Jones that if you start labeling somebody a cult, that is just pejorative rather than taking their belief systems and seeing what they believe in honesty. So I'm not real big. The term culture actually comes from cult. It just means common worship. So let's take a look at the Walter Martin Cult Reference Bible. It's King James Version. He had a PhD. It says founder and director of the Christian Research Institute, San Juan Capistrano. Professor of Comparative Religions and Apologetics, Melody Land School of Theology, and the Simon Greenleaf School of Law in Costa Mesa. So then he gives the purpose, how to use this Bible. It's put out in 1981, has a recommended reading list. And this is kind of neat in the front. It's just like a guide to major cults. Like the Baha'i faith. Now, you don't hear much about the Baha'i faith. A fascinating thing about the Baha'i faith is if you go on Mount Carmel in Israel, the Baha'i faith owns that thing now. It has a big temple up there. It's like, whoa, that's interesting. Let me also show you, for back in the day, this actually, it's kind of the sewn feel, like it's not smooth. But for back in the day, this was extraordinarily well done. They really didn't do hardback covers that came with the slip covers really good like they do today. But this one is an exception from Vision House Publishing. This is an exception. So it'll have the Baha'i faith, Christian Science, Hare Krishnas. You know, they were real big. If you're my age, you remember them. Bald head selling flowers, you know. Jehovah's Witnesses. Excellent thing on Jehovah's Witnesses, by the way. The Way International, Victor Paul Wierwille. The Worldwide Church of God, Herbert W. Armstrong. And then it has a little thing of comparing the cults, what they believe about different things. Jehovah's Witness, the Mind Science, Mormonism, that type thing. Now, he would never call the Roman Catholic Church a cult. He caught a lot of flack for that, as a matter of fact. And a lot of people just assumed he was a Jesuit or something. Then he came out against Alberto Rivera also. So a lot of people just said, well, he won't call the Catholic Church a cult. Now, he would say that there was a cult within the Catholic Church of Mary, praying to Mary, and all this kind of stuff. So then you can kind of see what it looks like in here. Probably about 8-point print. Has a lot of notes. Now, that's not universal throughout the Bible. You'll go many pages without any notes at all. But especially when you start, a lot of notes there. It's kind of how the Bible is set up. And again, no references at all. And I'm going to guess about 8-point print. It is not large print at all, and it's very inconsistent print. I did want to mention it is King James. It does not have like book introductions or anything, because it is just focused on how people who are aberrant religious groups misuse Scripture. But I'll just show you in Luke to show you, like, I mean, no references, no no notes, no anything on these particular pages. So it's not really geared towards that. Let's get to the back. It does have some things in the back you may be interested in. And you can buy these, I don't know, $15, $20, Baker used book, something like that. I really haven't checked the price recently. As a matter of fact, now on eBay, they had like a stack of 13 books for sale for like $19.99, and this was part of the stack. So that's pretty interesting to me. Do's and don'ts to witnessing to cults. I mean, you pretty much don't want to stick your finger in their face and say you're a cult and you're going to hell and you can never be saved, blah, blah. He also called a lot of flack because he would never call the Seventh-day Adventists a cult. He would consider them mainstream Christianity. Oneness Pentecostals, he did come out and say they were a cult, but anyhow, that's a sad deal. Has an incredible bibliography in the back, just pages. And then a topical index that looks like it came from Nelson. And the topical index deals mainly with subject matters at hand, like British Israelism and all of this. So the Walter Martin's Cult Reference Bible, it has very few references. I find that fascinating. Interesting Bible, good to have on the shelf. If you need a quick handy reference on Jehovah's Witnesses, Mormonism, some of the more obscure cults, he never mentions, like Oneness Pentecostal never came out with his book, Kingdom of Cults, that Oneness Pentecostals were cults, but some of his followers did, and he would say that on the radio some. But nice little Bible, and anyhow, God bless you. Keep living for Jesus. He's the one.